Welcome to our third video where we're exploring the book of Proverbs and the Cardinal Virtues. I was on a hike today with my son Wes, and so I thought we would try recording the video here. I hope the sound of the river in the background is not too distracting. So for this third video, I wanted to take up the topic of wisdom, which for the Cardinal Virtues is the first virtue. And clearly in Proverbs, this is a matter of extreme importance. You can't get past the first page without hearing about wisdom. And I'd like to introduce you to what is perhaps a new way of thinking about the pursuit of wisdom and also even of the book of Proverbs generally. So I think when we consider the acquisition of wisdom and even the love of learning, the love we have in mind is kind of a cool-headed, sober love, right? So in the word philosophy, which means the love of wisdom, the love in question is filial love, right? The love between friends. And again, it's kind of a cool-headed, dispassionate sort of love. But is there a different way to pursue wisdom? Is there a different way to love wisdom? I remember talking to my friends Kevin Roden and Dave Sims one night there in Denton. And Dave had this term that he used for those times when as a group you're talking about some important topic and sort of everyone in the room is intoxicated by the idea that we're getting at something real, right? We're onto something important here. And Dave called that eros for logos. So not filial love, not this brotherly love, but a more passionate sort of love. And I know that he's not the only one who's experienced this. I was reading recently about someone who attended one of the lectures of the philosopher Martin Heidegger. And here's what he had to say about that experience. So the question now is, does the book of Proverbs know anything of this kind of pursuit of wisdom? And if you're familiar with the book of Proverbs, your initial reaction might be that no, it doesn't, right? The book of Proverbs is an immensely practical book. It's always telling us not to sleep in too much, to get out of bed. And you think about the verse that says that there is wisdom at hand for the man of understanding, but the eyes of the fool are on the ends of the earth. It's kind of this admonishment against daydreaming. And so it would seem that it's an entirely practical book, that there's not kind of this idea of a passionate pursuit of wisdom. I think there's a hint in the 8th chapter. Robert Alter's translation of the verse goes like this. It says, all my lovers I love. And in fact, in the first 9 chapters of Proverbs, what you see is the personification of wisdom and folly. They're both personified as these two women who have made their houses, they've set their tables, and they're going out onto the street and calling people into their homes and saying, come to me, I have good things to share with you. You should turn in here. And we as the reader see ourselves as the passersby who have to make a decision, right? We're being sort of seduced, as it were, by these two different people, wisdom and folly. And which one are we going to choose? And that's the grand drama, I think, of Proverbs, is this question of who are you going to choose? In fact, I think all the repeated admonitions towards faithfulness, right, to not be carried away by the adulterous woman, while those can be taken at face value, I wonder if they're not also an admonition to be faithful to wisdom, right, to choose wisdom and then be faithful to wisdom. And even, I wonder, in that 31st chapter, this famous chapter of Proverbs about the virtuous woman, again, I wonder if it can be read in a straightforward and sort of more or less literal way, but also figuratively as if we have chosen wisdom and if we've been faithful to wisdom, here's the kind of wife that she'll be, right? Here's the kind of productive and ordered home that results from the person, a man or woman who's chosen wisdom for themselves. And so I hope that is perhaps a new way for you to understand the book of Proverbs as this drama of seduction between wisdom and folly, and with the repeated admonition throughout those 31 chapters to choose wisdom and be faithful to wisdom. And if you do, here are the great things that come from that. So in the videos that follow, I want to look at wisdom a little more closely to talk about what it is and how one attains it. But let's begin with that, the idea that the pursuit of wisdom may not always be simply a dispassionate thing, but at times may be eros for logos. Thank you.
I have